Don't worry about what's behind you. There could be something horrific right below your feet. The tragedy of Pompeii was one of the most catastrophic volcanic eruptions in all of history. Mount Vesuvius erupted over the ancient Roman city of Pompeii. The mountain, at an elevation of 4,203 feet today, was only around 5 miles away from Pompeii when it erupted in August of 79 AD. Ashes, pumice, rocks, and scorching hot volcanic gases exploded in all directions and launched a toxic pillar of cloud miles into the sky. There was so much of it all, in fact, that the volcanic ashes had left parts of the region covered in a blanket around 16 feet deep. A deadly combination of pumice and ash, believed to be 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit, poured down every side of the volcano and decimated anything in its path. The eruption lasted around 24 hours and covered around 200 square miles of land. Pompeii was but one place that was snuffed out from the mighty force of the eruption. It's believed that around 2,000 people died from the event. The city of Pompeii remained untouched until 1748. A group of explorers searching for ancient artifacts had arrived in the region and began digging. What they came to discover shocked them. Pompeii stood frozen in a volcanic time capsule. Human remains encased in solidified ash remained locked in their final positions, as if the tragedy hadn't been all that long ago at all. For as much as the volcano destroyed, it also preserved a great deal. Families cowering, people struggling to hopelessly escape, even beloved pets writhing in a brief moment of agony before being frozen forever. Pompeii remains a sobering reminder that while it may not be from a volcanic eruption, our lives can end in a moment we were never expecting. We as a society sometimes make the mistake that we think we have history all figured out, and then we discover something that absolutely stuns us. A burial site in Onivas, Mexico was discovered by the residents of a small village in 1999. The residents had been building an irrigation trail at the time when they came across their shocking discovery. Digging and digging, they were able to unearth 25 bodies from the ground, 17 of which were only children. It was believed to be one of the first pre-Hispanic cemeteries, dating back around 1,000 years. But there was something special about these bodies, something particularly unusual. The remains possessed frightening, elongated skulls that looked like those that might have belonged to aliens. Nothing like this had been discovered around that area before, and it scared those who discovered them. But eventually it was theorized that while the elongated skulls were anything but natural, they were entirely human. It is believed to have occurred through a process of intentional cranial deformation. The skull of a young child would be compressed between two wooden boards while the bones were still fragile enough to be manipulated. It's speculated that skull elongation was important for fashion in the culture of these people. But it's also believed that the reason such a startling amount of children were found buried was because of how deadly the process was. Abortion is not at all a new idea. In 1988, archaeologist Ross Voss discovered what he initially believed to be chicken bones on Israel's Mediterranean coast. He was searching a sewer beneath an ancient bathhouse, an establishment used for individuals to engage in sexual activities. Unfortunately, Ross soon realized that the bones didn't belong to chickens, but to human infants. The bones collected accounted for over 100 babies. Ross sent the bones off to a forensic anthropologist who concluded that the babies didn't die from illness or disease, and none of the infants lived longer than a week before mysteriously dying. What was originally a mystery eventually was revealed to be an ancient form of contraception. During Roman times, it wasn't uncommon for unwanted babies to be outright killed. Romans didn't observe babies as being fully human, so the pro-choice argument was much stronger. If a woman chose not to keep her baby, she would submit it to exposure, which was leaving the baby out in the open, either to be discovered and taken in by someone who would care for it, or just to perish alone. The location of these particular babies being under a bathhouse points to the high probability that these babies were often delivered unwanted because of the disregard for the consequences of copious amounts of sex, and they were placed directly into the sewer where they would wither and die along with other forms of what would be considered human waste. That's all for now. Remember, you may not believe it, but anything is possible in a world so seriously strange. If you'd like to learn more creepy and bizarre things, please be sure to subscribe to my channel now, and I will see you next Wednesday.